What's good, YouTube? This video is going to be about the question I got of, how to show a guy you're interested while keeping high self-esteem and thus not chasing him, how to let him do the work. So that's the question. To the first part of your question, I say this. Oh, and go to girltalkwithguys.com if you need dating coaching. Girltalkwithguys.com, book a call, half hour, video call, voice call, doesn't matter. Book a call if you need help or if you're inboxing a guy and you're a little bit confused about how you should be taking this or receiving these messages. Anyway, how to show a guy you're interested while keeping high self-esteem. The first part of your question, how to show a guy you're interested. In general, when I was dating and as the guys I know date, the thing we talk about and the thing that I used to discuss a lot and I used to gauge a lot is a woman's enthusiasm. A woman's enthusiasm to see me, a woman's enthusiasm to talk to me, to hear my voice, to go out with me. When a man doesn't see enthusiasm from a woman, he doesn't assume a lot of interest, right? And so men determine a different methodology or a different strategy based on how much enthusiasm they get from a woman. And while enthusiasm can make it feel like, you are, on a guy's nuts if you overdo it, if you oversell, for the most part, men interpret enthusiasm as interest. And so if you seem happy to talk to him, eager to go out with him, that's enthusiasm. That's enough. I think enthusiasm will get you pretty far. And it says, I want to be around you. It says, you're welcome to my energy, right? It makes a man feel welcomed, to be welcomed. And so enthusiasm is the only thing you need to work on if you want to show interest back to a man, is to reciprocate his energy with enthusiasm, right? Enthusiasm to have the conversation that he's trying to have, enthusiasm to go out, enthusiasm to, answer his phone calls in a timely manner and not play the text messaging waiting game. That's how you show a man you're interested. If he doesn't feel like he has to chase you, he knows you're interested. The thing is this though, a lot of times women will think, okay, because I'm too available for him, then he won't respect me and he won't chase me, he won't do this or that. I'm not saying be too available. I'm just saying when you are available, be happy to be there. That's what I'm saying. Even so, most women don't lose the race or lose the game being available. They lose the game over leveraging themselves. They lose the game giving men access to their bodies. They lose the game not having their own practices, habits, patterns, and standards and morals. They lose the game by allowing a man to lead them when he is either ill-equipped or he hasn't earned that position in their life. They lose the game in laying down with men that they don't know, and men who know that they haven't, again, earned that place with them. That a dinner, like, think about it. Women are effing for steak dinners. You don't owe a man sex because he showed up or because he went to dinner with you or he took you to a park. Like, think about what sex and the idea of, owing a person sex has become. You don't owe anybody anything. And I think that women lose the battle of trying to show interest in being sexual with men because they feel like, oh, I don't want him to be upset or think I don't like him. So now you're making out in the car and you're really not comfortable. You really didn't want to do this. Now you're having sex because you have sexual needs. Yes, and you're horny too, but you would have hoped to wait a little bit. You don't feel comfortable. You're not emotionally consenting. You're physically consenting, right? So there's that. Be very careful about showing interest in those ways. Just show enthusiasm, be happy to be there, and reciprocate the intellectual effort. That's how you show interest to a man. As far as while keeping high self-esteem, listen, your self-esteem is that self-esteem. This is not, you have to know who you are despite who you're talking to, despite how that's going, despite who's courting you or who you're trying to court. That has nothing to do with, like, your self-esteem needs to be intact. I don't give a damn who I dated. I don't give a damn how bummy I was, how broke I was. I've always known who I was. No woman has ever been able to tell me who I am, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, you're right. Whether that's good or bad. DMX once said on Dr. Phil, if I believe you when you say I'm great, then I'll believe you when you say I ain't shit. So I don't take anything. I don't take anybody's opinion to heart, right? If you say F me, that's great. If you say you love me, that's also great. I really resonated with me because I've always felt the same way. I obviously take on the compliments. I appreciate it. They confirm what I believe about myself. But when people shit on me, when people say negative stuff about me, I don't give a damn. Like, my self-esteem is already in place. My self-esteem has no dependence on anything on the outside of me. No opinion in the comment section. no response to my videos, no diss videos that people make about me is ever going to affect my self-esteem. Hater, friend, or foe, you really can't affect my self-esteem. Again, I appreciate love and light. So give me that love and light. I take it. I appreciate it. Be it unto me, even as you have said, if you prophesy good things over my life. But if you think for 1 second I'm moving around because I need that, then you got me messed up. I'm moving around for my family. I'm moving around for my legacy. I'm moving around because I have a purpose that I believe God has given me to help people in a certain way. That's what I'm doing. And that doesn't change based on somebody else seeing it or acknowledging it or insulting it. So your self-esteem really has to be your self-esteem. It has to separate itself from your dating, to be quite honest. So I don't necessarily want to even answer that question in the context of how to keep your self-esteem while dating a man, because the reason that's a problem is because they're linked together. You need to break that chain. As far as thus not chasing him and how to let him do the work, you let a man do the work by really having boundaries, by not giving him physical gratification, right? By watching him, by observing him. You let a man do the work by reciprocating the energy and the effort he gives, but waiting for that as a cue to give more, not to match his energy. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about if what you want from a man is for him to call you, then don't be hitting his line up 4 or 5 times a day. Let him call you. If what you want from a man is for him to love you, then see, first of all, if he has an intent to love. And if he has an intent to love, then wait for him to show it, right? Wait for him for his actions to confirm his words, right? Observe his actions over his words. Actually observe, I think patience, and that's what I'm trying to get to, patience. When you say how to let him do the work, exactly that. Don't gratify him sexually and allow him to get to know you. That's what you do. It's not as hard as people make it, but people don't have patience, right? You want to feel close. You want to feel connected. So you go out of your way to feel connected to a person, even if they haven't done the work yet. Don't fill in the gaps. Don't fill in the missing links. Let him do the things that he's supposed to be doing. Let him be what he said he is or what he represented himself to be. If you don't want to chase a man, all you have to do is call him the same amount of times he calls you, or just return his calls when he calls you, if he calls you. Return his text messages when he texts you, if he texts you, but do so with enthusiasm so that he sees that you're happy to talk to him. If he invites you on a date, accept the invite and accept it with enthusiasm so he knows you're eager to go on a date. But when you get on that date, be respectful. Have your boundaries in place. Don't allow him to be rubbing up all on you and touching all up on you and manipulating your body and pressing himself up against you and putting something in you. Like, really just stick to your boundaries and your standards. When a man sees that you have boundaries, you have standards, you have requirements, you have principles that don't need him or his approval, he will get in line if that's what he also wants and if that's what he's also looking for. But too often you let a man's principles, a man's values, a man's morals, a man's strategies become the way you date. You cannot let a man lead you physically. He might be able to lead you intellectually if he knows something you don't know. He might be able to lead you energetically if he's up and you're down and you need to be lifted up or exalted in that moment, right? People lead each other. Relationships are about partnership. So there is a give and take, and there's an upper and lower generally. But we often switch places. Sometimes you lead, sometimes he leads. So what I'm saying is, on these dates, in these interactions, if you want a man to do the work, then you have to observe him and you have to give him space and opportunity to be exactly what he is. And that just requires patience. So take your time making out with men. Don't be kissing men just because they went on a date with you. Like, have some boundaries. If you want to see him do the work, first you have to allow him space to feel like he needs to get closer to you. Too often after a man goes on a one date with a woman, he feels very close to her because he's already pinned her up against some car seats. So he didn't need to do the work. Work for what? He's already got it. Who goes to work on the first day, gets the check on the first day, and comes to work on the second day? Very few people, right? We don't get paid on the first day of the week. Monday isn't payday for a reason, because they need to reward you for the hard work that you've gotten over the week. They're not just going to pay you the first day you get there. So in the same way, energetically, emotionally, it's the same way in relationships. Don't pay a guy on Monday and hope that he works until Friday. That's just not how that works. Your self-esteem has to be intact. That's not connected to your dating experience. And if you have connected those things, you need to disconnect those things. You show interest with enthusiasm, but you show self-respect with boundaries, and sticking to those boundaries and sticking to those principles as you observe what he's offering you. If a man sees that your boundaries are in place and he doesn't affect them, then not only will you get respect, but he will also put in at least an equal amount of effort into making sure that he's invited into your personal space or into the circle of trust, so to speak. But both of you need to be doing the work. Both of you need to be investing in each other. And if you're not seeing that investment from him, then don't try to beat a dead horse. Let him go. Cut things off and find somebody who's willing to do the work. So how to let him do the work? Again, stick to your morals, values, and standards. Make them clear and stand on them when you're in the hot heat of the moment. Stand on them when you're tempted. Stand on them when he's making moves on you. Stand on them when he's trying to betray the morals, values, and standards that you've already communicated you have, if you've communicated them, or just be able to stop him, be able to resist. If you're not willing to resist a man when he comes on to you, then there's no way that you're ever going to be chased or even met in the middle by a guy, because men only work for what requires work. People in general will give you exactly what's necessary and no more. People will treat you exactly how you require them to treat you. So make that the requirement. Time, effort, contact, communication. Now, if a man's not offering those things naturally, then move on. But again, to be clear, you both need to be doing the work. Anyway, I hope this helps. Follow me at KFA24 on Instagram. Go to girltalkwithguys.com if you need dating coaching about your particular situation. I'll get with y'all later.